Hello and welcome to another Tamar Talks Media video. Before I even get started, I'm going to apologise for the really bad, what's it called, acoustics? I don't know, the really bad sound in this video. I'm actually filming in my bathroom, so I've got the really annoying like of the, I don't know what it is, and it's quite echoey. But this is the only place with good lighting at the moment because it's dark outside and my room is not situated in a part of the UK where it gets good lighting at 7 o'clock at night in September. So, I do apologise. Yeah, welcome to this video. This video is basically a timeline of the crime genre, really. And what I'm going to do is I'll probably split this video up into two parts because I have gone in and like chosen quite a few films, and basically I am going to talk you through the plots really of 3 films from each year from 1920 up until 2015, and the pattern goes, for example, 1920, 1923 and 1928. If you get my gist. So yeah, I'm just sort of going through the plots so you can see how the plots of crime films have changed throughout time, and if there are any sort of standout plots or standout actors or standout directors really, and we'll just take it from there. So let's get going with the 1920s. What's that called? The Roaring 20s? I don't know, is that like flappers? It's like flapper dress, isn't it? Just pitch that in your head. So, let's go. In 1920, the crime film I have chosen is called The Penalty, and it's directed, or was directed, by William Worsley and written by, I think it was written, it might have been directed as well, by Philip Lonergan and Charles Kenyon. And this film is basically about Blizzard, who is a gangster, and when he was younger a doctor accidentally cut his legs off, as you do, and he's driven insane by this trauma, and also because of the pressure to having to like walk on his crutches. He's driven like mentally insane, and he becomes a crime lord, and he decides that he wants to track down this doctor and reap his revenge. And this revenge basically involves him stealing, gets right now, kidnapping the doctor's daughter's fiance, and he wants to attach his legs to his own legs. So we'll cut his legs off, and then, well, obviously not Blizzard's legs, we'll cut the other guy's legs off and attach them to his stumps so he can walk, and it'll all be hunky-dory again. So yeah. And now on to 1923, where we have Bulldog Drummond, directed by Oscar Apfel. And this film is actually an adaptation, it's an adaptation on a character. So this film is based on obviously the character Bulldog Drummond, and who is a fictional character, may I add, and who is a demobilised British captain from, where are you captains? The army, I think? And because he's like demobilised, he becomes bored with his civilian life, because obviously it's not as exciting as being a captain is very exciting, and being a civilian is not, apparently. And so because of this, he places an ad in a local newspaper, offering up his services to anybody who wants them, for any excitement. So basically he writes a little note and it's like, you can have the services for excitement really. If you want me to do something, I will do it for you. And but one of his replies that he is intrigued by, and he like gets the replies, intrigued by it, goes to it, it lands him in a lot of trouble. So, mystery there. Watch the film and find out what that trouble is, because I'm not giving anything away. 1928 sees the film Lights of New York, which was directed by Brian Foy, and it's quite like a big standout film here. Ooh, alarms. And it was the first all-talking feature-length crime film, and it was by Warner Brothers. And it's basically about a child called Eddie who gets conned into fronting for a speakeasy on Broadway. So remember that. Lights of New York. Standout film. There you go. And now onto the 1930s. And the first film I picked from, obviously, the 19B from 1930 is called Night Owls, and it's directed by James Parrott. And this actually is not a crime film, as it comes from the subgenre of crime comedy, and you can sort of tell this as soon as I say that it stars Laurel and Hardy, who I'm sure everybody knows are comedians of their own kind. And basically the plot of this is that there's an officer called Officer Kennedy who gets pulled up by the police chief because his work isn't good enough. So on his watch there's been 42, I can't even do that on my hands because I don't have enough fingers, but he has 42 unsolved crimes whilst he's like on watch, so clearly he's not doing his job properly. And basically to sort of re-establish himself, he enlists the help of Stanley and Oliver to break into the police chief's house and sort of like rob it, but then not actually rob it because it's basically set up and he's going to catch them and everything will be all good and everyone will love him again, if you understand me. And now onto 1933 and the film Lady Killer, which is directed by Roy Del Roof, and this tells the story of Dan Quigley, who gets fired from his job at the local movie theatre. Oh, that's so American, movie theatre. And after this he becomes very, very quickly involved with a lot of criminal activities, and because of this obviously the police catch up with him and he has to make a quick little exit over to Los Angeles. Los Angeles, is that how you say it? Los Angeles? LA. He goes to LA. And whilst in LA he basically tries to make his mark on the movie industry, although why you do that while you're on the run, I don't know. But it's a film, so it happened. And because of him sort of to start to become famous, some familiar faces from his past, like criminal past, sort of start to pop their faces up and cause a little bit of trouble for old Dan Quigley. And now on to 1938 and the film by Alexander Halls, which is I Am the Law. And this film is about a law professor called John Lindsay, and basically he gets offered a job of special prosecutor by Eugene Ferguson, who is a civic leader, and his wife doesn't really want him to take the role, but he's like, yeah, and takes it anyway, you know, as you do, just as you do. And this leads him to sort of become friendly with Paul Ferguson, who is actually Eugene Ferguson's son, and their sort of role now is to prosecute a criminal syndicate who Paul Ferguson doesn't actually realise his dad is actually the boss of. So clearly a good watch. Go and watch that if you want. Seems good, you know. Woo. And now we're on to the 1940s. So obviously this is film the 1940s. So in the 1940s we have the film directed by William Knight called The Fatal Hour, and this is about Captain Street, who's also a captain, and his best friend actually gets murdered. And after this, Captain Street turns his sights onto the skills of a Chinese detective, I don't want to get this wrong now, James Lee Wong. So like discovers James Lee Wong, and it's all about James Lee Wong. And basically Detective James Lee Wong, whilst searching for the killers of James Street's best friend, he discovers a ring of smugglers on the waterfront of San Francisco. But this does not lead him to the killer. Oh no. Oh no. A few more murders have to go down in San Francisco before Detective Wong does actually discover who the identity of the killer is. So that film is clearly a bit of a mystery to it, a bit like, is it Agatha Christie? Does she write crime novels? I think it's Agatha Christie. Yeah, she liked Poirot and stuff, didn't she? Talking to myself, hoping I'll find the answers. So yeah, that was the 1940 film, and onto the 1943 film I've chosen, which is William Castle's Chance of a Lifetime, The Chance of a Lifetime, I'm sorry. And this film is about Boston Blackie, who helps get prisoners on parole so that they can help his friend in his machine and tool plant. This friend is called Arthur Manleder. I hope I said that right. And most of the criminals that Blackie gets on parole have to live in the apartment that is provided by Blackie himself, and this is all apart from, let me get his name right, Dooley Watson, who has a wife and son who Blackie allows him to go and visit. However, on one of these visits, Dooley decides that he actually wants to recover the stolen goods that actually landed him in prison in the first place, and as you can imagine, this ends him up in quite a lot of trouble. So, yeah. The third film from the 40s I've chosen is the 1948 film Noose, which was actually released in America under the name The Silk Noose. So if you are going to go search on the old interweb for that, it might come up with The Silk Noose as well, but that is the same film, basically. Like Harry Potter came out with The Philosopher's Stone and The Sorcerer's Stone. No point in it, but it happens, you know? And this particular film was directed by Edmund T. Greville, and this film is actually set here in Britain after the Second World War. Well, I was on about that, wasn't I? Maybe the Second World War was in the 40s. Oh, give yourself a pat on the back. And it basically tells the story of black market racketeers who have to battle getting brought up to justice by an American fashion journalist and her ex-army fiance and a gang of tough people, basically. Yes. And now we are on to the 50s. Was that 50s hippies? No, that was 60s. Ignore the peace sign. And the first film from the 50s that I've chosen is The Blue Lamp, which is directed by Basil Dearden. It's quite a good name actually, I quite like to be called that. And this film shows basically the daily routine of two London policemen called George Dixon and Andy Mitchell. I nearly said. Yeah, so basically it tells a story, or not tells a story, it shows the daily routine of the two London policemen. While this is happening, two young yobs, it's a good word that, Tom and Spud are planning a spree of robberies, and all the first robbery goes down all well, all goes, not well because it's a robbery, but you know, it all goes down good as they planned, and but on their second robbery, their spree is cut short as one of the policemen is actually shot dead. and this sets off a citywide manhunt for their killer. So that's another one with a, was there a manhunt in another one? I swear there was. Yes, the lady killer, not a manhunt, but he was on the run, wasn't he? Just kind of saying. Might be a convention, that. Might be a new convention to add. Excitement fills me. And the next film is I Confess, which is was released in 1953, and is directed by good old Alfred Hitchcock. And basically, a caretaker and housewife, husband and duo called Otto and Alma Keller. They both work at a Catholic church which is located in Quebec, I think it's like I hope it's like Quebec City. However, Otto also does like other jobs, and one of these jobs is as a gardener at another house, not the church, at a different house. And whilst gardening, he decides that he's going to start stealing some stuff, and he actually gets caught by the owner of the house. And so, you know, as a normal reaction to getting caught doing something, he kills him, you know, just a usual everyday thing. Yeah, so Otto kills the owner. However, he can't just carry on living his life with his guilt, and he's sort of, the guilt fills him up a little bit, and he ends up going to the Catholic church where he works and going to confession, and he confesses all of his troubles, crimes basically, to Father Michael Logan, who was just working late on that day and happened to discover that Otto had killed some poor innocent man. It's a tough job being a priest, or being a father. But obviously, due to their religion, Father Michael is not actually allowed to tell if the police come knocking. Father Michael isn't allowed to say anything that happened in confession because it's like against the rules or something. I think it goes down like that. And because of this, the police actually start to suspect the father of the killing. And obviously, because he can't go, oh no, I didn't do it, thingy over there did it, he told me in confession, they start to suspect him, and Father Michael can't actually tell the police any of the information that he's actually found out from Otto, as it's against the rules. So there you go. And on to 1958, sorry. And this is the film directed by Just Addis called The Crybaby Killer. And basically, the character Jimmy Walker is brutally beaten by another character called Manny Cole and two other teenagers. This is all because it's basically a hate crime, because it's all because Cole, or Manny Cole, has his eyes on Jimmy Walker's girlfriend. So they decide, you know, natural response, beat the bloke up who has the girlfriend. And during this fight, one of the teenagers actually pulls out a pistol and drops it almost instantly, basically. And this pistol gets picked up by Jimmy, and who quickly turns it back onto the two teenagers and Walker and shoots at them. Might not kill them, might do, you know, mystery, don't reveal too much. So he shoots at them. And when a police officer turns up, he demands Walker to surrender. But Walker, only being, you know, a young teenager, he panics and runs off into the distance. Completely gone. Usain bolted it out of the picture. And because he thinks he's killed the two youths, and so he makes a break for a small storeroom in the location that this happens, and actually takes several hostages over the course of the film. It's worth a watch as well. And now onto the swinging 60s, and this film is very well known, as I think there were quite a few of them, and it's Ocean's 11, which was directed by Lewis Milestone. And basically 11 friends, hence Ocean's 11, are brought together by, well, who were like known each other through World War II. They come up with a plan to rob 5 of Las Vegas's biggest casinos in one night, basically. And they develop the plan and start to conduct the plan, but of course, as this is the crime genre, something has to go wrong, and it does. So that's that film. And the 1963 film that I chose for this era, or this era, of course, this era is the 63, is The Informers, which was directed by Anakin Skywalker. This film actually shows the story of a fiery relationship that is between Scotland Yard detective Jono and the chief of the SWAT through paid informants. And basically they've both been given instructions not to use informants and to use more scientific methods of detection and working stuff out. But the Scotland Yard detective Jono actually disobeys this rule and carries on using his trusted informants all up until one of his informants gets killed, gone. And quickly Jono becomes prime suspect for corruption, and he has very little friends on his side after this. And basically, to help himself, he has to hire the help of the guy who got murdered, his brother, to help him, really, so keeps in the family. And now on to 1968, where I have chosen the film No Way to Treat a Lady, which was directed by Jack Smite. And this film is about Christopher Gill, who is a serial killer who is infatuated by his dead mother, who was an actress while she was alive. And he basically chooses his victims due to their resemblance of his mother. He's a bit weird. And his trademark is painting a pair of red lips on a female's forehead with lipstick, like his mother used to wear. It's quite cute, but weird at the same time. Now on to 1970. Yes, the 70s. And I've chosen the film Perfect Friday, which was directed by Peter Hall. And basically, a manager of a London bank actually works out a way to rob £20,000 from his particular branch, and he becomes involved with a lady called Lady Dorset, and after becoming involved with her, he finally makes the decision to actually go ahead with his original plan, but he does need her help to do so. So the 1973 film is Night Watch, which was directed by Brian G. Hutton, and a rich widow, Ellen Wheeler, witnesses a murder basically right outside her window. But because she's recently had a nervous breakdown, and so when she goes to tell people about what she's just witnessed, nobody believes her at all due to her previous mental illness. So I suppose that's sort of another one there that's sort of about mental people. She was a nervous wreck, and the other one was infatuated with his mother. Finally on to the last film for the 70s, which was the Walter Hill 1978 film The Driver. And the driver basically runs his own specialist business where he drives the getaway cars for criminals. Basically, his talent in the film, so how good he is at his job, has actually prevented him from ever getting caught. Ever. He has never been caught. However, one particular successful getaway, after one particular successful getaway from the police, a detective actually decides to make the driver his main focus. So basically he wants to track him down, and he, to get onto the driver, he basically starts to promise a gang, a certain gang, he promises them remission. Basically, if they help bring the driver down, they won't have to face any legal issues, so they won't have to go to prison or anything. So, a bit of bribery there, that's never, ever a good thing, is it? So I think that's really enough films for one video anyway, because I don't want to bore your little souls to death. So I've done from, in this videos you just watched, I've done from the 20s to the end of the 70s. So in the next video I will be going from the 80s to 2015, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you can sort of start to see a few more patterns going on with the sort of plots that happen throughout crime, like throughout the, what's it called, the progress of the crime genre, and if you can sort of see where one of the original crime films, sort of you can see parts of that in later crime films. So yeah, I hope you start to see that, and until my next video I will see you lot later, and until part 2, have a good time mates, see you later.